Ayrton Senna, Rise of a Genius, Fall of a Hero. Ayrton Senna's Formula One career remains one of the most celebrated and tragic stories in motorsport. His rise began with an electrifying debut at Toleman in 1984, where a stunning wet-weather drive at Monaco immediately marked him as a future great. He moved to Lotus, securing multiple wins, before joining McLaren in 1988, the start of his golden era. With McLaren, Senna won 3 world championships, 1988, 1990, 1991, and developed a legendary rivalry with teammate Alain Prost. His intense, aggressive driving and almost spiritual approach to racing made him a global icon. He was known for his unmatched skill in wet conditions, qualifying dominance, and uncompromising mindset. Senna's fall was sudden and devastating. After struggling with an uncompetitive McLaren in 1993, he joined Williams in 1994. A move meant to reclaim dominance. Instead, he faced early retirements and frustration. On May 1, 1994, during the San Marino Grand Prix, Senna was killed in a crash at Imola, aged just 34. His death shocked the world and led to sweeping safety reforms in F1. Senna's legacy is one of brilliance and tragedy. A career defined by unmatched talent and an untimely, era-defining end. Michael Schumacher, dominance, decline, and silence. Michael Schumacher's rise was rapid and relentless. After a standout debut with Jordan in 1991, he joined Benetton and captured back-to-back world championships in 1994 and 1995. His combination of technical feedback, tire management, and raw pace set a new benchmark. Schumacher moved to Ferrari in 1996, initiating a rebuilding phase that culminated in unprecedented dominance. From 2000 to 2004, he won 5 consecutive titles, bringing Ferrari back to the pinnacle of F1. By 2006, he had 7 championships and held nearly every major record in the sport. His fall began not with failure, but with his first retirement in 2006. When he returned with Mercedes in 2010, the magic was gone. Over 3 seasons, he managed just 1 podium, consistently outperformed by younger teammate Nico Rosberg. After his second retirement in 2012, Schumacher suffered a traumatic brain injury in a skiing accident in 2013. Since then, his condition has remained private, with few updates and no public appearances. Schumacher's career was one of absolute control and power, followed by a stark, silent absence. His rise was unmatched. His fall, unlike any in F1, occurred far from the racetrack. Alain Prost, the professor's calculated descent. Alain Prost earned the nickname the Professor for his methodical, precise approach to racing. His rise began in the early 1980s with Renault and McLaren, where he quickly became a title contender. He narrowly lost the 1983 and 1984 championships before capturing his first world championship in 1985 with McLaren. Prost won additional titles in 1986, 1989, and 1993, showcasing an unparalleled ability to manage races strategically. His rivalry with Ayrton Senna defined the late 80s, particularly during their volatile partnership at McLaren, which involved intense psychological and on-track battles. His fall was rooted in politics and fatigue. After a bitter season with Ferrari in 1991, where he publicly criticized the car and was sacked before the final race, Prost took a sabbatical. He returned in 1993 with Williams and won the title, but retired at the end of the year, unwilling to partner with Senna again. Though highly decorated, Prost's career was marred by off-track tension and public perception that he lacked the raw charisma of rivals like Senna or Schumacher. His exit was clean but final, a brilliant strategist who chose to walk away before the sport pushed him out. Niki Lauda, fire, comeback, and quiet goodbye. Niki Lauda's F1 career was defined by resilience. After a self-financed entry into F1 in the early 1970s, his breakthrough came with Ferrari. He won the 1975 World Championship and was dominating the 1976 season until a horrific crash at the Nürburgring left him with severe burns and lung damage. Amazingly, Lauda returned to racing just 6 weeks later, finishing 4th at Monza. He narrowly lost the 1976 title to James Hunt, but reclaimed the championship in 1977. He left Ferrari soon after and had a brief, less successful stint with Brabham before retiring in 1979. Lauda returned in 1982 with McLaren, and added a third title in 1984 after a season-long battle with Alain Prost. He retired for good in 1985. Off the track, Lauda became an aviation entrepreneur and later returned to F1 as a consultant and executive, playing a key role in Mercedes' modern success. He passed away in 2019 after battling health complications. Lauda's story is unique. A champion who literally rose from fire, quit on his own terms, twice, and then helped shape a new F1 dynasty behind the scenes. His fall was physical and personal, but his legacy endured across generations. Lewis Hamilton, the modern GOAT, meets his limits. Lewis Hamilton's ascent began with a near mythical rookie season in 2007. Paired with reigning champion Fernando Alonso at McLaren, he nearly won the title in his debut year, eventually taking his first championship in 2008, the youngest at the time. His early career was marked by raw speed, bold overtakes, and occasional inconsistency. After a few lean years with McLaren, Hamilton made a bold move to Mercedes in 2013, which turned into a historic decision. From 2014 to 2020, he won 6 additional titles, dominating the hybrid era with a combination of skill, relentless work ethic, and unmatched qualifying pace. By 2020, Hamilton had tied Schumacher's record of 7 world titles and surpassed nearly every statistical record in F1 history. Off track, he became a global figure in activism and fashion, helping redefine the image of a modern driver. The fall began in 2021, not due to performance, but controversy. He lost the title to Max Verstappen in Abu Dhabi under highly disputed circumstances. In 2022 and 2023, Mercedes failed to produce a winning car, and Hamilton endured winless seasons for the first time in his career. Though still competitive, the aura of invincibility has faded and questions now circle around whether title number 8 will ever come. Sebastian Vettel, 4-time champion, then declined. Sebastian Vettel rose rapidly through the junior ranks and made headlines by winning the 2008 Italian Grand Prix with Toro Rosso, still the youngest ever winner at the time. He joined Red Bull Racing in 2009 and from 2010 to 2013, delivered 4 consecutive world championships. Vettel's dominance in this era was comprehensive. He controlled races from the front, broke pole position records, and set a new benchmark for success at a young age. His aggressive but precise style, paired with Adrian Newey's engineering brilliance, created one of the most effective combinations in F1 history. The fall began with regulation changes in 2014. Red Bull slipped behind Mercedes and Vettel was outperformed by new teammate Daniel Ricciardo. He moved to Ferrari in 2015, hoping to emulate his hero Michael Schumacher. Though competitive, Vettel never won a title with Ferrari. Mistakes under pressure, including high-profile crashes and strategy errors, cost him key races, particularly in 2017 and 2018 when he had a real shot at the championship. By 2020, Ferrari chose to part ways. He finished his career with Aston Martin in a midfield role, showing flashes of brilliance but no wins. His exit was graceful, but the sharp decline after such a dominant peak remains one of F1's starkest career arcs. Fernando Alonso, the brilliant nomad. Fernando Alonso's rise was swift and ruthless. After debuting in 2001, he secured a race seat with Renault and became the youngest world champion in history in 2005. Breaking Michael Schumacher's long reign. He repeated the feat in 2006, defeating Ferrari once again and establishing himself as one of the sport's best all-around talents. Alonso's strength was his consistency, adaptability, and racecraft. But his career quickly became defined as much by politics as performance. A tumultuous 2007 season at McLaren saw him fall out with the team and rookie Lewis Hamilton in one of the most dramatic intra-team battles in F1 history. He returned to Renault, then joined Ferrari in 2010. Despite multiple near misses, including a heartbreaking runner-up finish in 2012, Alonso never added a third title. His relationship with Ferrari soured, and he left after 2014. Subsequent years at McLaren Honda were plagued by uncompetitive machinery. Though he regularly outperformed his car, his career seemed stuck in limbo. After a 2-year break, Alonso returned to F1 in 2021 with Alpine and later joined Aston Martin. Despite impressive performances, a third championship continues to elude him. Alonso remains a living legend, brilliant, divisive, and eternally searching for the perfect seat that never quite materialized. Kimi Räikkönen, from Iceman to Meme King. Kimi Räikkönen's rise to prominence was swift. After debuting with Sauber in 2001, He was signed by McLaren a year later. His raw speed and calm demeanor earned him the nickname the Iceman. He came close to winning titles in 2003 and 2005, but was often let down by reliability. In 2007, Räikkönen joined Ferrari and won the World Championship in his first season with the team, clinching the title by a single point over Hamilton and Alonso. It was the peak of his career and the last title for Ferrari to date. His fall wasn't dramatic, but gradual. After underwhelming seasons in 2008 and 2009, he left F1 to explore rallying and NASCAR. He returned in 2012 with Lotus, where he produced memorable drives and a fan-favorite win in Abu Dhabi. In 2014, he rejoined Ferrari, but mostly played second fiddle to Alonso and later Vettel. Despite occasional podiums and one final win in 2018 at Coda, Räikkönen's competitive edge had dulled. He finished his career with Alfa Romeo, delivering solid performances but largely out of contention. Over time, his cult following grew, not for his results, but for his no-nonsense attitude, radio clips, and disinterest in F1's politics. Jenson Button, the patient champion. Jenson Button's F1 journey began in 2000 with Williams at just 20 years old, making him one of the youngest drivers to debut at the time. Though his early years showed promise, it took nearly a decade, and a lot of team hopping, before he truly broke through. His rise culminated with Brawn GP in 2009, a last-minute team born from the ashes of Honda's exit. The team produced a dominant car early in the season, and Button won 6 of the first 7 races. He secured the World Championship with 1 race to spare, one of the sport's most unexpected title runs. Afterward, Button joined McLaren, where he enjoyed success but was largely overshadowed by teammate Lewis Hamilton. He did manage memorable wins and became known for his smooth driving style and strategic race sense, especially in mixed conditions. Button's decline came gradually. As McLaren fell behind the competition, he struggled to stay competitive. By 2016, he stepped away from full-time racing. While not as naturally explosive as some peers, Button's career is a testament to perseverance, timing, and seizing opportunity when it finally appears. Even if the peak was brief. Jacques Villeneuve. From star to spiral. Jacques Villeneuve entered Formula One with enormous hype. As the son of Ferrari legend Gilles Villeneuve, and fresh off winning the 1995 IndyCar title and Indianapolis 500, he joined Williams in 1996 and nearly won the championship as a rookie. He delivered on the promise in 1997, winning the World Championship after a fierce season-long battle with Michael Schumacher. At that point, Villeneuve looked set for a dominant F1 future. However, the fall was swift. Williams declined in performance, and Villeneuve's move to the newly formed BAR team in 1999 was a disaster. The car was unreliable and uncompetitive, and his results dropped dramatically. Despite being the centerpiece of the team, he never won another race after 1997. Over time, his performances and motivation appeared to fade. He was eventually replaced mid-season in 2006 during a stint at BMW Sauber. Villeneuve's post-title years were marked by frustration and underachievement. Despite his bold personality and early talent, his F1 career serves as a cautionary tale about poor team choices and fading competitive edge. Nigel Mansell, the working-class hero's roller coaster. Nigel Mansell had one of the most dramatic and hard-fought careers in F1. Known for his aggressive driving and emotional style, he rose through the ranks slowly, facing early setbacks and injuries. He became a fan favorite for his never-give-up attitude and brave on-track moves. His breakthrough came in the mid-1980s with Williams, where he came close to winning titles in 1986 and 1987. However, misfortune and mechanical failures repeatedly cost him. After a difficult stint at Ferrari, he returned to Williams and finally clinched the World Championship in 1992 with a dominant season. Rather than defend his title, Mansell left F1 for IndyCar, where he won the 1993 championship, becoming the only driver to hold both titles simultaneously. He returned to F1 in 1994 with Williams and briefly again in 1995 with McLaren, but his performances were far from his peak. Mansell's fall was quick post-title. He never regained his top form and retired soon after. Despite the decline, he remains a beloved figure, a champion forged from grit, charisma, and drama, whose peak came late but memorably. Mika Häkkinen, the Iceman who left early. Mika Häkkinen's career is a study in quiet brilliance. He spent years developing with McLaren during their transition period in the early 1990s, earning respect for his speed but lacking the machinery to fight for wins. A life-threatening crash in Adelaide in 1995 nearly ended his career, but he returned even stronger. His rise came in 1998 when McLaren Mercedes delivered a dominant car. Häkkinen won the World Championship that year and defended it in 1999, showcasing calm under pressure and masterful qualifying pace. His rivalry with Michael Schumacher, particularly from 1998 to 2000, defined the era. However, McLaren's performance dipped in 2001. Häkkinen suffered multiple retirements and admitted his motivation was waning. Though only 32, he announced a sabbatical at the end of the season, one that quietly became retirement. Unlike many, Häkkinen didn't fade through poor performance, but chose to exit on his own terms. His decision was respected, but it left fans wondering how much more he could have achieved had he stayed. His fall wasn't dramatic, just a graceful step back by a champion who knew when it was time to leave. Nelson Piquet, the forgotten triple champion. Nelson Piquet's rise was defined by cunning, technical understanding, and consistent performance. After debuting in the late 1970s, he found success with Brabham, securing his first world championship in 1981 and a second in 1983, becoming the first turbo-era champion. Piquet wasn't the flashiest driver, but he was strategic and relentless. His third title came in 1987 with Williams, though it was a tense season marred by an internal rivalry with Nigel Mansell. Many felt that Piquet won due to Mansell's injury rather than outright superiority, which tarnished the victory in the eyes of some fans. After 1987, Piquet's career began to decline. He moved to Lotus and later Benetton, but was no longer a consistent frontrunner. As younger, more dynamic drivers emerged, his pace and motivation faded. He retired in 1991 with 23 wins and 3 titles, an impressive resume that has often been overlooked in F1 history. In later years, Piquet's controversial comments and outspoken nature further distanced him from the modern paddock. Despite his achievements, his legacy remains complicated, respected for his results, but often overshadowed by more charismatic or politically neutral champions. Damon Hill, the inheritor's rise and sudden exit. Damon Hill's F1 journey began unusually late. The son of double world champion Graham Hill, he entered Formula One at age 31, debuting with Brabham in 1992. When he joined Williams in 1993, he quickly proved himself capable, winning 3 races in his first full season. Hill became the team's lead driver after Ayrton Senna's tragic death in 1994. He took on the emotional and competitive pressure and nearly won the title that year in a contentious fight with Michael Schumacher. He finished runner-up again in 1995 before finally securing the World Championship in 1996. Despite the title, Williams informed Hill mid-season that he would be replaced in 1997 by Heinz-Harald Frentzen, a shocking decision for a reigning champion. Hill joined Arrows and later Jordan, but never returned to top-tier competitiveness. His decline was swift. While he delivered Jordan's first win in 1998, Hill retired from F1 the following year, disillusioned and clearly past his peak. Hill's rise was quick and his fall was abrupt. Though often underestimated, he remains one of the few to win a title under enormous emotional and political pressure. But his time at the top was cut short by team politics more than performance. Juan Pablo Montoya, the uncontainable talent? Juan Pablo Montoya burst into Formula One in 2001 with Williams after winning the kart championship and the Indianapolis 500. His aggressive, no-holds-barred driving style quickly made him a fan favorite. Montoya challenged Michael Schumacher head-on and claimed multiple victories against the dominant Ferrari. He was known for fearless overtakes, especially his high-speed pass on Schumacher at the 2001 Brazilian Grand Prix. Montoya's rise promised a future world champion, fast, fiery, and unafraid. However, his fall came through a mix of politics, inconsistency, and clashes with team management. Williams and later McLaren struggled to match Ferrari's performance, and Montoya's relationship with both teams grew strained. In 2006, frustrated and increasingly disinterested in F1 structure, he left mid-season to pursue a NASCAR career. His departure from F1 at just 30 years old felt premature and left fans wondering what could have been. Montoya's F1 career ended with 7 wins and 30 podiums. Impressive, but short of expectations. His raw talent was never in doubt, but his refusal to play by F1's political rules made his fall as dramatic as his rise. James Hunt, the Playboy champion who vanished early. James Hunt's rise was as fast and flamboyant as the man himself. Known for his party boy image, sharp wit, and fearless driving, Hunt broke into F1 with Hesketh Racing in the mid-1970s. After moving to McLaren, he won the 1976 World Championship in a season-long battle with Niki Lauda, one of the most dramatic rivalries in F1 history. Hunt's combination of charisma and speed made him a global icon. He won 6 races in 1976 and became a symbol of 1970s F1 excess. Hard driving on track, hard living off it. However, his fall came almost immediately after his title win. McLaren's performance dropped, and Hunt's motivation began to wane. He won just 3 more races after 1976 and retired suddenly in 1979 at age 31. While his time at the top was brief, Hunt remained a beloved figure in the sport. He found new success as a BBC commentator alongside Murray Walker, where his wit and honesty earned him a second legacy as a broadcaster. Hunt's F1 story is one of meteoric rise and self-chosen exit. A champion who lived fast, won big, and walked away before the grind of the sport could catch up to him. Emerson Fittipaldi, champion to underdog team owner? Emerson Fittipaldi made history early. He burst onto the Formula One scene in 1970, and just 2 years later became the youngest world champion at the time, driving for Lotus. In 1974, he claimed a second championship with McLaren, cementing his place as one of the best of his generation. Fittipaldi's rise was swift and clinical. Known for his smooth driving and calm demeanor, he was a master of managing races and tires. At just 29, he was already a double world champion and had the sport at his feet. Then came a fateful career decision. In 1976, Fittipaldi left McLaren to join his brother's startup team, Fittipaldi Automotive. The idea was noble, a Brazilian super team, but the reality was a midfield car with limited funding and poor reliability. Emerson spent 5 years languishing outside the points before retiring in 1980. Though his fall was not due to a lack of talent, the choice to leave a top team at his peak derailed his F1 career. He later found success in IndyCar, but in F1, his legacy is split. Half legendary driver, half cautionary tale about loyalty over performance. Graham Hill, the gentleman racer's tragic ending. Graham Hill's rise is one of the most inspirational in Formula One history. Without any family wealth or early backing, he entered the sport as a mechanic and worked his way up. He made his F1 debut in 1958 and eventually won 2 world championships, in 1962 and 1968. Known for his elegance on and off the track, Hill became a fan favorite and one of the most respected drivers in the paddock. He is still the only driver to complete the Triple Crown of motorsport. Wins at the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indianapolis 500, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But by the early 1970s, Hill's driving career was in decline. He formed his own team, Embassy Hill, and struggled to find competitiveness as both owner and driver. His presence remained a paddock staple, but his days at the front were behind him. His story ended in tragedy. In 1975, Hill was killed in a plane crash along with several members of his team. He was 46. Hill's fall wasn't marked by scandal or failure, but by the relentless passage of time and a tragic accident that ended a storied life far too early. Alan Jones, the reluctant champion. Alan Jones brought Australia back to the forefront of Formula One. After grinding his way through underfunded teams, he joined Williams in the late 1970s. His no-nonsense style and physical driving matched well with the team's rising technical capabilities. Jones won the World Championship in 1980, delivering Williams its first title and becoming a national hero. His aggressive style and straight-talking attitude made him a unique presence in the sport's increasingly corporate landscape. However, his fall came as quickly as his rise. Internal tensions within the team, particularly with teammate Carlos Reutemann, soured the atmosphere. Frustrated, Jones retired at the end of 1981 while still competitive. He made several attempted comebacks in the mid-1980s, including a stint with the Beatrice Haas team, but he was well past his prime and never returned to form. Jones's career arc is that of a tough, self-made champion who left on his own terms, then came back, unsuccessfully, chasing past glory. His legacy remains strong in Australia, but his international profile has faded compared to other champions of his era. Nico Rosberg, the one-season king. Nico Rosberg's career is a masterclass in long-term persistence. The son of 1982 world champion Keke Rosberg, Nico debuted in 2006 and spent years in the midfield with Williams before joining Mercedes in 2010, where his rise truly began. Initially overshadowed by Michael Schumacher, Rosberg emerged as a serious contender when paired with Lewis Hamilton in 2013. From 2014 to 2016, he was Hamilton's only real rival, finishing runner-up twice before finally winning the World Championship in 2016 after an intense high-pressure season. What made Rosberg's story unique was what came next. 5 days after winning the title, he retired from F1. At the peak of his career, Rosberg chose to walk away, citing the emotional toll and his desire to end on a high. His rise was steady and hard-earned, his title well-deserved, and his exit shockingly abrupt. Some criticized the move as avoiding a rematch with Hamilton, while others praised it as a perfect ending. Rosberg remains a one-time world champion who beat one of the best ever, then left before the fall could even begin.